Premise of this podcast is to demystify Web3 and to help new users sort of gain a better understanding, learn from our mistakes. Every week we interview business leaders, founders, and individuals in or looking to enter the Web3 ecosystem. Our guests share their experiences, advice, and their mistakes so you can learn from the best. Today, I'm very excited to introduce New Dumb Money, aka Pat, a founder of Rax NFT and BoomBox Marketplace, the music marketplace where you can mint your music as digital collectibles. If you don't know Pat and you don't know the Rax and the BoomBox Marketplace, I highly suggest that you get to know them. I have a feeling that we're going to see an explosion in music NFTs, and these guys allow you to stay at the forefront of that. So thanks for joining us, Pat. Absolute pleasure to have you. And how's your day been, man?
Yeah, thanks for having me here, man. Really appreciate it. It's been pretty good. I went out and did a couple hours of like Uber delivery. I've started doing that just to like kill some time, right? Just because the market's super slow, and sometimes I have some downtime on working on Rax and Boombox. So I was just doing that this morning. Got a coffee and a booster juice, and yeah, ready to get right into what Rax is all about, Boombox, and all that stuff. So.
Fantastic, man. And just before we dive into Rax and Boombox, I wanted to get like a little background on you. Like every time I ask this question, I get really interesting and different answers. So the first question I have for you, and start wherever you want, use your own words, is sure. How did you get into Web3 and NFTs?
I got into Web3 actually like back in 2020, but I wasn't like doing any NFTs or anything. I was leverage trading Bitcoin. I was out in BC and I got a bunch of like crypto.com ads, and I bought some BTC and opened up a Bybit account, and I was getting like super wrecked on leverage trades here and there, just like getting completely like owned by the market. And the number kept going up. So I was like, oh my God, I suck at this. And then I started poking around on Ethereum, started learning about like smart contracts and what they do. And then that's where I learned about NFTs. So got into NFTs right around when like Bored Apes minted. I missed those, but I minted Pudgy Penguins and a bunch of other ETH NFTs.
Nice.
And I did that for a few months, flipped a couple things, and I made some profit. And I was like, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. But then, I was getting killed on gas. I went to the fees.WTF, and I'd spent like 2 ETH on gas. And at the time, it was like $8,000 USD. And I was like, oh, I can't afford this. Like I'd already have no money as it is. Like, why am I spending all this money on gas? And I knew different L1s and L2s existed. So I started screwing around on like Tezos and Solana and Binance Smart Chain and stuff like that. Came to find that the Solana community is absolutely like insane. And not only is it like the biggest community, but it's like the most vocal, and it's the most ride or die community, and I kind of fit right in to that community. So yeah, I did that around November 2021, and I've been in the NFT space basically full time ever since. We started BoomBox Market, a little bit after I was done like flipping NFTs and stuff like that. So just because I always felt that musicians, ever since I was in the space, I kind of didn't realize that like musicians didn't have a home, and they need their own dedicated marketplace. We saw it like spring up with lots of one-on-one marketplaces. Like Exchange Art, love what they're doing over there. Before that, Form Function. There's a couple new ones that have popped up now. But musicians didn't really have a place to call their home. So we decided to build one, and, we're continuing to build it. Lots of features that we're looking to add. Lots have been added since we launched. And the main goal, for me in Web3 is to, bring music distribution on chain, because I think it's, the only true digital vinyl and digital beat packs and stuff like that you can actually sell and use after that point of sale. So yeah, man, super excited about the future, and happy to be a part of building the infrastructure out. And Solana is kind of the only place that makes sense to do it right now. We'll, unofficially, we're looking into branching into other chains, just because, we don't want having to make people to like choose what chain they want to host their stuff on. Ideally, they don't know what chain they're using, just like, all that. The average musician probably, wouldn't be interested in learning about all the tech side. Tech seems to like bore people and kind of scare them away. So But we will offer the opportunity to like launch on any chain you want and stuff in the future. But for now, Solana makes sense just because of the low transaction fees and the super fast transactions, and you can actually sell a $2 single or a $2 instrumental and have it be $2 and not $2 plus $20 gas and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a little intro.
Yeah, man, love it.
Kind of into Solana a lot now. It's like kind of where I hang out the most. So yeah, but happy to talk about anything, man.
Yeah, awesome, man. You covered so many really interesting points, and I love the entry into crypto and Web3. Like I have to say, at some point, someone mentions ETH, and then gas fees, and then Solana. Like that seems to be the way in which that process goes, one way or another.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree more on your like reasoning and understanding as to why you would choose Solana. Certainly at this stage in the game, maybe things will change in a couple of years, but yeah, I definitely agree. And so, like you mentioned, there not being a home for musicians, which I think was a really good point. I hadn't really thought about that. Like it's definitely an artist and creative focused like ecosystem, right? Like
For sure.
blockchain and all NFTs certainly at the moment are. So I think you picked on a really strong niche with a missing audience, or an audience missing a home. And so, with that, like, how did you find the initial like idea into making that come to fruition? How was that process?
So like, I started conceptualizing this back when I was just like a community mod for a Solana project that was kind of not really involved in music. They just had a lot of the community seemed to like be into music. Like a lot of producers were in the community and stuff like that. It's Thugbirds what I'm talking about. And each of the Thugbirds had like a favorite rapper trait and stuff like that. So I started conceptualizing on that, and then the team decided, the Thugbirds team decided not to move in that direction, so I got let go. And then the Famous Foxes, I'm sure you've heard of them if you're into Solana NFTs at all. They're a Solana NFT project. They build lots of infrastructure. They reached out to me, and they really liked that. They really liked the idea. They really liked the passion that I had towards it. They also thought that they could help me execute it as well. With my co-founder Jim. He's the CEO and the other co-founder of BoomBox and Racks. So we hopped on a call with them, and they were super cool, super down to help us bring our vision into a reality, at least help us start. So we started building right away, entered it, signed contracts and all that, got it going. Since then, they've helped us transition over to our own development team. But Drax is always there. Like we always ask him questions. He's kind of been like not a supervisor, but like, he gives us advice, and he's kind of been like an advisor in that role, but they really helped us get it off the ground. What me and Jim were envisioning for a music marketplace, and they would kind of put it to the back end and the front end on code. But yeah, ever since then, now we have our own development team. They're super, super awesome. And, we're still playing with the 2 or 3 features that we need the site to have in order to kind of start to mass market this to a mass audience and to all sorts of musicians and producers and sound engineers and stuff like that. So just working out those last few things before we start our first marketing campaign, which is pretty exciting. We spent a lot of time making sure we got everything right. Building this marketing campaign and getting content for it and stuff like that. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, the Famous Foxes were instrumental in just bringing the idea to life. And then, we kind of took it over from there, and they still help here and there. But yeah, mostly it's just me and Jim coming up with, the vision. We'll do some mock-ups for our devs and stuff like that. And, they do an awesome job of taking that and putting it, into reality for us.
I love that, man. And big shout to the devs, man, the unsung heroes of any blockchain community, right?
Yeah.
I'm very lucky to be working with a fantastic dev as well. And I think when you have a vision and not necessarily the technical skill set, it's super important to have a fantastic team underneath you to sort of bring that visualization into reality, and also, blow out your candle when your dreams are too big, and expensive at some
For
point.
sure. I've definitely had that happen in the past.
Yeah, same.
We can
Yeah.
get quite ambitious, and they kind of reel us in and go, "Wait a minute, guys. First of all, we need to build this. Second of all, that's going to be a lot." But they seem to come out on top every time. So shout out, if you have a good tech team, like hold on to them, because they're not dime a dozen.
Yeah, exactly, man. And so, like in that bit that you've been talking about, you mentioned Cyberfrog. So just want to dig into that a little bit. So, like, how did you go from like this, concept in your mind, and being on another team, to then like really orchestrating the connection with Cyberfrogs? And
Oh, it's Famous Foxes. Sorry.
sorry, Famous Fox
Yeah, no, you're
Federation.
good.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. So like I said, Jim and I, we spend a lot of time conceptualizing, what the ideal music marketplace looks like. And the the Famous Foxes did help us out, in the beginning, but I'm just, what is your question? Sorry.
Yeah, so you mentioned having their devs and stuff involved. So what I'm trying to get at is if you're a new project, and you've got these fantastic ideas, but you don't know much,
yeah,
finding
yeah.
that
That's a
connection that
good
allows you
question.
to
Yeah,
bring it.
no,
Yeah.
and I've had people come out and ask me, like, how did you get BoomBox off the ground? Like,
Mhm.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. Like
Yeah.
in BoomBox's case, like we just kind of were in the right place at the right time. Like we were working on this for another project. They kind of scrapped it, and the Foxes just reached out. You know what I mean? Like,
Nice.
and I can't tell other people to go and like the Foxes don't do charity work, right? Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like I've had a bunch of people come up to me and like, do you think they'd be interested in this and stuff? And it's kind of like, no, like I hate saying that too, but at the same time, web like this space is full of talented developers. Um, it's really hard to get one that you can, that you vibe with, that kind of
Mhm.
gets your vision, and that you can trust, because you do put a lot of your trust into the dev team, especially when it comes to the smart contract work and stuff, right? But if you're a new project, you got a really super sick idea and you're looking to execute it. I think there's your best bet is to use the resources you have. First of all,
Mhm.
Web3 is pretty tight and everyone's pretty accessible. It doesn't even matter if they have like 1,000 followers or like 30,000 followers. I usually seem to get a DM back every time. It doesn't matter like what you're talking about. So like, don't be afraid to ask people, like, or make a tweet saying like, hey, like I have this cool idea. I don't really want to put it in public. Is there any development teams, that can help me? And if you have some capital, to pay these guys to work, like there's teams ready and willing to work for you, even just on like an hourly basis, no like obligations for, 6 months or whatever like that. Like usually it's just like, piecework, and it's pretty easy to find, those types of resources in this space, especially with how accessible everybody is. But for us personally, like it just kind of just happened. You know what I mean? Like
Nice.
it
Yeah.
kind of almost fell together. Like, and I look back on it a lot and I'm like, wow, like we were pretty lucky to have it happen the way it did. But at the same time, they reached out and they really liked the passion that we had, the vision that we had. So as long as your idea is like super rock solid, you're doing something new, you're doing something fresh, something that not even just Web3, but like how you can better the technology niche that you're pushing towards, right?
Yeah.
Like usually people are pretty willing to break bread and sign NDAs and kind of start working on it right away.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I think you said it really well. But the one thing I would slightly disagree with is you said like you were kind of lucky about how it all came together. And I think like there's a lot to be said for being prepared for when that opportunity falls on the
There
table,
is,
right?
for
Like
sure.
you as much as you're lucky in the opportunity arising, the opportunity wouldn't have come to anything if you hadn't been prepared and had your passion and your vision ready to sort of explain to interested parties. So everything else you said I 100% agree with, but I also think like if you do have these ideas, get as much of it out in the best way you possibly can and have it ready for people to consume,
100%.
to take it to that next level. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that.
that's kind of being prepared is everything.
Mm.
You know, even like just from getting the development team on to, you know, we had our first investor come on shortly after we launched, and you know, we had that all prepped up, ready to go. We had pitch decks, we had our value prop ready, you know, we had our pitch ready and stuff, and you know, that ultimately ended up giving us our first, you know, boost financially that we needed to, you know, kind of see a lot of these ideas through and execute on, you know, certain things that we didn't have the capital for. And like, and you know, you're right, like it's kind of, there is a famous saying, like I forget what it is, but you know, it's, but like you need to be a little bit lucky, you need to be a lot prepared, and you know, you need to, you know, be able to face adversity when things aren't going the way that you
Mhm.
thought they were going to go, and kind of have stick to itiveness, and start to, you know, and just kind of conceptualize it and have it presentable for people, you know, who are ready to help you out along that journey. So yeah, thanks, I appreciate it. You know, sometimes I get lost in the sauce, and you know, it's just like for me, I just try and stay ready so I don't got to get ready,
Yeah.
kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is, it could be for camping, it could be for boombox, you know what I mean? So as long as you have that attitude in life, you know, it'll take you pretty far. It has for me anyway. So
Yeah, I agree, man. I love it. Love it. Really like it. And so I want to just go into like your mint. I want to talk about you know, how you built up to that, and you know, a little bit about your art. Like I want to get into it from like, again, new projects, new business, new people entering Web3 perspective. So like, you know, how did you come up with your art, conceptualize that, and bring that to mint? And
yeah.
then yeah, go on.
Yeah, so you know, Rax, Rax is pretty cool. We weren't initially going to do an NFT collection. We'd launched Boombox, you know, probably 6 months before we even thought about doing an NFT
Oh,
collection. It was never on our radar to do it. But what ended up happening was, you know, we were having a call with our good buddy Hex from the Fracture. I don't know if you know them. Hex is a beauty. The whole team there, we've become really good friends with them. And we were just having like, you know, kind of a business call, just kind of like a catch up call, you know, because we're boys. And Hex kind of, you know, pitched us the idea. He was like, "Hey guys, you know, you've built this really awesome thing. It's only going to continue to get more awesome. But the problem is with like a lot of utility projects and stuff like that is that no one really cares about the tech side of things, as unless you're like, you know, a musician who's in Web3 and you're like, and you fall into this very specific niche and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. But like, it's hard to excite like non-musicians and you know, people who don't really consume music or make music or anything like that, about a music marketplace. So what we ended up doing, like, was looking into, you know, having an NFT collection come out, that would give us, you know, like the main thing for us was to raise a community. Like, so we had these foot soldiers to move. When we say move,
mm,
whenever, you know, we're doing marketing or you know, like, hey, we've just built this really exciting new thing, can you know, are you guys excited, like, can you guys hype it up for us on the timeline and stuff?
yeah.
So that was a success, and you know, that's the only thing that kind of we really wanted out of it was, you know, to have these, you know, these community members that, you know, were really bullish on the idea of Boombox, and you know, who have used it and stuff like that. So that's kind of how we decided to do an NFT collection. And then once we made that decision, we're like, okay, well, like now, you know, there's a bunch of things that we got to think of now. Like, we can't have trash art because, you know, the market is super nuked. It's not 2021, and you know, just random
Gone are the days,
selling
yeah.
anymore. So we need really, really awesome art. And so we contacted Mob Studios, and we spent about 4 to 5 months delegating back and forth with them. You know, getting the base done. Like, we told them we wanted a raccoon because raccoons are, you know, like, get it by any means necessary type animals,
Nice, yeah.
you know, get it out the mud type animals, right? They kind of just survive. And you know, a nuclear bomb will go off, everyone will be dead, there'll still be raccoons ripping around trying to, you
You
know,
know
survive
it.
and stuff. So I think it really, you know, encapsulates the spirit of the artist, like just kind of, you know, getting it any way you can kind of thing. So we wanted a raccoon. Didn't want to do a human because they're really tough to do, and there's already been a really, like, a couple solid humanoid, like, projects like lilies and D gods and stuff like that.
Oh
So we
yeah.
kind of wanted to find our own lane there. So yeah, I went with the raccoon. It was super cool. Went back and forth a lot. Like, we're perfectionists on everything we do, so even like there was a lot of small details we had to hash out. But ended up getting it done. You know, we wanted the traits to look like some like things people would wear, not just like, you know, bananas on the head. No shade to any projects who are doing these things, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a DGen too, so you know, I kind of like sometimes, you know, having like a cupcake on the person's head is kind of cute. You're like, oh, cool, you know what I mean? But like, we really wanted to, you know, instill a sense of pride in the artwork that people were getting. So kind of went with traits that were a little more relatable, a little more streetwear, inspired by a lot of, you know, designer clothes and you know, athletic brands and stuff like that. So that's kind of
Nice.
what
And
we're doing with the traits.
yeah, no, just to dig into a few points there. So like
Sure.
I really like the art conceptualization, you know, in the 4 to 5 months I could believe that to and fro in.
Yeah,
And you know, getting into your like trait design and then just linking that to your need to build a community of like foot soldiers, right? That are gonna
for
help with
sure.
your marketing and everything else. So
Yeah.
did you like actively sort of look at who your consumer base was, potential new audience, and relate that when it came to your IP development? So like for your traits and your art finish style, did
Hmm.
you have in mind, you know, the consumers of as the soldiers that you would be targeting? Obviously within, you know, all degens, you then want people who have at least some sort of interest in music and DJing and producing. So did that play a part in that conceptualization?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we get a lot of questions like, you know, why isn't there more music traits in racks? Like, and it kind of, it's because, you know, we were kind of, what do musicians wear on stage? What do they wear when they're producing? What do they wear,
Mhm.
you know, when they're going to the store and stuff like that? You know, and that's kind of what we tried to encapsulate with the like with the look of, you know, our collection. And of course, it went into it. You know, we were like, we're targeting, you know, not just musicians but music enjoyers, and you know, people who like to go to festivals and people who like to go to concerts, and you know, who just like to consume, you know, mass media as a whole, even just, you know, like chilling out on TikTok or Instagram and stuff like that, because music is very powerful. It has a lot of reach, has a lot of, you know, impact on culture, it has a lot of impact on like, you know, how society moves and what they do, you know, recreationally, what they do with their time and shit. So definitely that's something we were thinking about like from day one, was just how can we make this relatable to, you know, people who we think are going to look at this and go, oh, this is fucking cool. Like, you know, I gotta have a piece of this. I at least gotta see what's going on here. Like, I really like this. So yeah, we definitely were thinking about that, and I think it kind of shows, right? A
Definitely,
lot of
man.
the Rax characters looks like, you know, you could chill and just smoke a joint with them out front of the hall, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Out front of the venue,
Yeah, for real,
and
man.
that's definitely the vibe we were looking for. Yeah.
I got really because I how did I discover you? I discovered Boombox first. I had
Right.
seen Rax NFT. I actually
Okay.
had whitelist, and then you know I've got kids and life. Just I
Yeah. Yeah.
missed the
Yeah.
mint. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so then I sort of rediscovered Rax via Boombox Marketplace, looking for a place to bring like a new dimension to the podcast, you know, and just
Cool.
to start incorporating more communities. You know, we believe in building a community of communities at Uni-Fy. Um,
Yeah.
and I got like really cool gorilla vibes from the, you know, the gorilla group.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That art style, like the outline and that, I thought was really solid, man, and I
Thanks.
really like that. And what I also really liked is the fact that I did discover Boombox Marketplace before the NFT collection, or rediscovering it,
Yeah.
because it says to me that this is a marketplace that's approachable by people who don't have NFTs in their mind.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
like that, I think it's huge, you know. And again, we mentioned before we went live, like, you know, I've got a huge network of friends that are just absolutely outstanding in music, and a lot of them, you know, they lack that. You know, you spoke about sort of tech getting in the way of creatives, and you know that varies in degree, but
Hmm.
you know, one consistent thing I've seen across with all of them is, you know, they don't put it on YouTube, they don't upload stuff, but they've got a catalog of gold,
Yeah, big time.
and then they feel like, well, if I put it on YouTube, people are going to steal it and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, look, here's a solution to all of those potential problems, right? In
Yeah,
one
big
in one
time.
marketplace, because okay, yeah, there's a little learning curve. I would imagine that will later get broken down so that barrier to entry for need of a wallet will be gone. You can use wallets as a service instead of,
Yes.
and so people sign up with email. And the platform itself felt really iTunesy familiar. It didn't feel
Yeah.
like one of those UIs you sometimes get to drag to via an NFT project that makes you feel out of your depth instantly. So I think you did a fantastic job on that, man.
Thanks. Yeah. And like, I think a really big thing I mentioned before that we're waiting for some features to come on before we push, make a big push in marketing. One of those features that we're working on is it ties directly into what you just said, is making the, platform a little less, crypto native and a little more usable for, the everyday musician who doesn't give a shit about crypto because,
Mhm.
let's be honest, like a lot of people don't, right? We live in
Mhm.
our little echo chamber and, we like to
Yeah,
think like, no, this is the future of everything. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Come
And,
on, yeah,
I believe that on the back end, right?
yeah,
Like, or else I wouldn't be doing this, right? I really do believe on the back end, like these are true digital albums. These are true, digital singles, digital instrumentals and beat packs and stuff like that. But one of the barriers to entry, like you said, is wallets and buying
mm,
crypto and
mm,
so one thing that we're really looking forward to, so we can market this to just outside of crypto, just to musicians in general, is bringing on credit card payments and pricing things in USD or USDC at least, and just kind of eliminating that unnecessary barrier to entry, like you said, because ideally at the end of the day, we want everyone using this platform. Doesn't matter if you're into crypto or not. We just care about if you're a musician,
yep.
and if you're trying to sell, units. So that's definitely something that we're working on. And I think once we are able to integrate those different protocols, I think it becomes a lot more marketable as just an overall encompassing music tool rather than a
Yes,
Web3 music marketplace. So that's
yes,
kind of the end goal. That's where we're going. We got to start somewhere, and this is where we're at right now. And we've found out a lot of things that thankfully we're doing it now and not in the future, when we're ready to like go gung-ho at marketing. But yeah, man, no, that's something that we think about every single day. Jim always makes fun of me for saying this, but I want my grandma to be able to go onto BoomBox and buy and sell stuff, and you know what I mean.
exactly,
Like, it just makes,
exactly.
that's the only way you're going to bring people here, right? So yeah, working on it, and yeah, that's we definitely share the same ideology as that. Is crypto on the back end, doing all the hard work on the back end, and securing the digital files themselves and allowing you to own them is definitely very interesting. But at the end of the day, a lot of musicians are just trying to survive, trying to sell their music. So if we can, make it palatable to them, I think it's a win for everyone.
Yeah, and I think on that note, I think you should just talk about, for instance, Spotify, for instance, YouTube. If you put your music there, I don't know enough, but I know that you don't particularly get well looked after. Like, let's say you're selling a song for £5. I don't know what percentage of that you get to, or Spotify, how many listens it is, but just give me a comparison of digital ownership on Boombox Marketplace compared to what isn't ownership at all, but essentially
Yeah.
giving
So
your music to a platform to
yeah,
then
so I would
pay you
I
back.
would compare, if we're doing comparisons, I would compare Boombox to Splice, BeatStars, and Bandcamp all wrapped up into one, because these are Web2 platforms that allow you to sell units, whether
Okay.
they're instrumentals or they're samples, or they're singles on Bandcamp. You know what I mean? The problem with these platforms is that they're not built with crypto on the back end. So like there's no real digital file or digital asset that you're buying or that you can send or trade or whatever, right?
Hmm.
The other problem is that they subjugate you to like these crazy fees that are like 30 to 50%,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are gated. You can't, no, a lot of people can't go on if they're just a nobody and kind of sell their stuff on there. Um, and that's kind of like, not to put down any Web3 music ventures that have gone before us, but a lot of them you know, they need you to be accepted to sell stuff. And like we kind of took the SoundCloud approach and was just like, okay, well, like what if I'm a person with 10 followers and I've got, you know, 10 really awesome fans that are ready to buy, but like I just can't, you know, your platform's not available to me. So that's something that we wanted to you know, was just be completely open for people to like, they just verify through their Twitter, because we figured, you know, artists really value their social media presence, so they're not going to try and scam people on their mains and stuff like that. But you know, in terms of like Spotify and YouTube and stuff like that, I'm not exactly anti Spotify, and I'm not exactly like anti, you know, DSP streaming service and stuff like that. I think the discoverability of streaming is like become very cracked in the last like 5 years, 4 to 5 years, where like, you know, complete, especially in the last 2 years, like complete nobodies. If the song's good, like it's going to trigger a bunch of these algorithms that'll put it onto playlists. And, you know, you might not get a bunch of long-term fans. Like in my opinion, you make your fans at the venue, like going and doing shows and like signing things for people and meeting them, handshaking. That's where you make your hardcore fans. At least in my experience as a musician, I've always made my best fans like at the show. You know what I mean? But like in terms of like revenue, like Spotify and YouTube and stuff, with their discoverability and their algorithms that, you know, promote just good music, doesn't matter like the following or whatever. Obviously the bigger guys get, you know, a little more special treatment, but I know a lot of people who have put a lot of time into grinding out, getting their Spotify monthly listeners up and stuff like that. And it's kind of like a snowball when it comes to that, because like you start getting people liking and saving and putting it on playlists. Spotify picks that up and they blast it to another tier of users that might like it, and then you get more of that and stuff like that. So not exactly against Spotify as a thing, but
so, you know,
if there's one thing I could change, it's their payout. They don't pay out musicians enough. And, you know, I think it's like 0.003. It's like a third of a cent every stream that you get.
Do you know what I mean?
It's brutal, right? Because like I've had 30,000 people listen to my songs, right? And then I'll only get like, you know, like $20, $30. And I'm like, okay, so I've entertained 30,000 people. And now I have $30, you know. So like, I think the future is kind of using it in tandem, because like
this is I was,
you know what I mean. Like I really do think that like unit sales and platforms like BoomBox and Bandcamp and stuff like that, they can exist within the streaming realm. While these are just tools for artists, right? At the end of the day, and it's up to the artists to use these tools how they say fit. So, you know, one thing that I always say to, you know, newer musicians coming on, it's like, okay, so you're familiar with the Web2 things and how, you know, gamified it is there. And, you know, what you can accomplish there. So why don't you like focus on both and kind of treat your super fans, you know, to these digital collectibles that may, you know, that can be redeemed for things that can get you backstage to certain events, and that, you know, things that you'd want to know your verified owners are able to come and do. But it doesn't mean you should stop, you know, trying to get spins on Spotify and stuff like that. I just think that these are all tools that all fit nicely into a musician's toolkit, and, you know, they can get to work how they see fit with it.
Yeah, I love that, man. I think you nailed it with the musician's toolkit, because the way everything you've spoken about it and the way I see it from like a marketing perspective is, you know, YouTube, Spotify, social media in general become top of funnel, right? They're the place where you're bringing new listeners, new users, you know, down into your funnel of my musician, you know, this is my music, producer, DJ, whatever. And then you funnel someone like that. So you've still got your revenue, your ad revenue, your spin up revenue, like you say, no matter how pathetic it is. But that all then funnels down into your BoomBox platform, right? And you're now sending listeners to somewhere where you are now monetizing your audience, but also ownership of your audience. You're building like super powerful digital touch points, you know, and that connective tissue between you and your super fans. You can now instantly roll out exclusive access, behind the scenes events, you know, like you've got this amazing ownership, which is what I think is missing from the music industry totally. Is
Me
is
too.
the, is
Yeah,
the
you know,
ownership, you know?
we used to, you know, buying. It's like it's kind of funny. A lot of people ask me like, you know, why would you buy music? I'm like, guys, we've been buying music since music has been like pressed on wax and or like
Yeah.
anything. Like we've been buying music for decades, and only recently, you know, we've kind of seen it nuked in the internet era. You know, with you know Kazaz and LimeWire springing up. And the whole industry went into a panic when those were springing up. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, like, what are we gonna do?" Like, the whole industry's going to collapse. And you know, at the end of like, obviously, we all know that it didn't collapse at the end of the day. But those worries were really real back then, when they didn't have a solution for you know like digital footprint for music. Like, so you know, I think Spotify's and Apple Music's and you know YouTube Music and stuff like that. These are a knee-jerk reaction to you know trying to save the music industry, like you know on a like to force people into paying for music, right? A lot of people, that's what they say to me, like music is free, and I guess it is in some platforms, right? You pay with your time with ads and stuff like that, but
Well, you
a lot
pay
of people
someone
aren't.
else, right, as well.
Yeah, like some people are like comfortable with spending $15 a month, or you know it's just going to keep going up, whatever, a monthly lifetime subscription to listen to their music. But you know, at the same time, I really think you know NFT technology brings in this really cool way to kind of reintroduce music sales to at the consumer level to consumers. But you know, also like it's not just like the old times where you're just buying, you know, you buy the CD, you buy the cover. Like I used to love this stuff. I used to
Yeah.
bring CDs home and I'd open up the cover and there'd be really awesome artwork and some had the lyrics and you know what I mean? It was kind of like a whole experience back in the day. And you know, we lost that. There's a whole generation now that has no idea what any of that is about, kind of, right?
100% agree.
Unless they collect vinyls. Vinyls have kind of like shot back up in recent years.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? It's because people like collecting stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
they like having it, they like holding it, seeing it. You know, like interactivity in albums have been there forever. Like I don't know if you remember the Cheech and Chong vinyl, had a foot long rolling paper in it, and that was a big talking point to a lot of like stoners and
Yeah.
and music fans and stuff there. And you know, a lot of them, the second they got you know home, they opened the vinyl, knew they were going to get this foot long rolling paper, rolled a foot long joint, smoked it, and
Yeah.
listened to the album. You know what I mean? And people who you know were looking at it from a different angle were like, okay, this is a really cool thing. I'm going to keep this, buy it, keep it sealed. And now, you know, this collectible is just going to appreciate over time and stuff like that, especially because it's Cheech and Chong, right? It could be
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah. Of course.
But I really think that, you know, BoomBox really reintroduces unit sales that way, and a cool new interactive, you know, experience that can be offered to fans. It's not just, you know, a foot long rolling paper anymore. You know, it can be really brought, it can transcend from, you know, the internet to real world utility.
This is
Depending how the artist sees fit, right? Like they can offer backstage access, they can offer you know these free T-shirts to the first 50 buyers, stuff like that. But there's a new you know interactive experience that I think people are going to catch on and go, oh, you know, I kind of like this, like you know what I mean. So that's where I see, you know, like to be honest with you, this is someone who's like building a music marketplace. I don't think we really know where we're going to end up. This tech is so new, and you know, I like there could be something game changing that comes out, you know, tomorrow that we could implement into BoomBox. And it's like, oh, this is really cool. We never saw it coming. But, you know, as it stands now, I really do believe that like these are true digital albums, true digital, you know, collectibles and vinyls and stuff like that, that are able to be traded, held onto, you know, ownership verified and stuff like that. So that's kind of like, that's what I tell new musicians now is like, that's where we're heading with this kind of thing. It doesn't mean you should put down the Web2 stuff, but you know, I think there's a really cool way to interact with your fans and build that community, you know, that artist community relationship that we never saw possible in the past.
100% agree, man. And I really think we share a similar sort of frequency in the way we think about the future of you know, not only the project, the technology, but also that ability to know that we are so fresh, we are so innovative that you might have to pivot tomorrow, you might have to adapt tomorrow, the next day, hour by hour. And I think that's a massive part. And then on top of that, obviously, because we're Web3, we are building in public, right? Like our MVPs are consumable. But with that comes, there's two sides, isn't it? There's the, oh, well, this is rubbish. I had imagined better. But then there's also, well, we want to see this and this and this and this. And now you're building a product catered directly to the needs of users. And I think from both a builder's and an investor's perspective, that's a fantastic way to deliver a project to market, and knowing everyone involved knows that that's never done, like it's done for now, but we've already working on V2 and V3 and V4 and V5,
absolutely.
And that's certainly something that I've seen with Uni-Fy. And what I'd like to do is just sort of talk to you a little bit about how I see Uni-Fy supporting, helping, and being an asset to BoomBox and every other project. And then we can do a screen share, man, and you can sort of talk us through the platform that you've built, and people can see it if you're happy with that.
Fuck yeah, of course.
Yeah, awesome, man. So like, obviously Uni-Fy, I don't know how much you've looked into us, but I came into the crypto space and Web3 nearly 2 years ago now. And when, after a few months of being in here, I saw that essentially what we are seeing here is like an ecosystem built of affiliate marketing, which we've labeled community marketing, right? So kind of to do well as a project or as a business in Web3, you need, like you said, your foot soldiers, your community, your NFT collection minters, your investors, however you want to call them. In our sense, it's like an army of marketers. That's what we need, and that's what we want to build. And so, from seeing that and being in multiple projects and doing different roles in all of these projects, I've seen there to be a need for a centralized place that showcases all of the fantastic utility skills, products and services that are behind, in and around not just the projects but the users as well, like our community members. And so like that's what Uni-Fy is founded in, is wanting somewhere where it's like a window into Web3, where you can look in one Web2 familiar style website and you can find everything you need. So you need an artist, you need sort of, you're losing my words. You need a smart contract developer, a musician, a voiceover, whatever it may be. There is one place that you can go. And then, so we've built that, right? You can go, we're just about to start closed beta testing. And yeah, man. And so we've built a place where you can come, you can build an e-commerce brand page, right? So instantly you can monetize your products and services and put it in a format that's consumable to Web2. We also offer like add-ons. For instance, if you want to do merch, we organize print on demand products that you plug in, put your artwork on, and then that goes live, no overheads, no charge. But like one of the things we're most excited about is the ability for every person on the website to actually become a community marketer. So you can say you go onto the BoomBox page, you like I was thinking like what might be cool is we can try and bang out some of the traits as merch, so you could actually buy your racks merch as worn by your NFT, for instance. Let's say you sign up to Uni-Fy, you come onto your brand page, you can promote BoomBox or you can promote the individual product, the album, right? We give you a platform to generate affiliate links and start generating affiliate commission that way. So you can now incorporate your community, and now obviously you've got your marketing army, but it's difficult to track and it's difficult to reward those people who are out there, like the super fans we spoke about earlier.
For sure.
And so what our platform does is it gives you a toolkit to not only activate your community as affiliate or community marketers, but then track and reward them on chain. So, just going a level deeper with you, I was imagining, so like now people who launch albums on your platform could create a brand page with that album, and now their community can now market and sell that product or service. you know, and they can then have a community, like a sub community of their community, and you know, they can do merch, they can do whatever else they want, and they all will gain commission when the sales happen, be it on your product, or if they leave your site and go somewhere else, they'll still gain a commission from any sale that happens through that site.
Yeah, that's awesome, guys. Wow.
Yeah. So we'll be getting a lot more in depth in it. We've been a little bit like, you know, undercover about it, and you know, I myself, my co-founder, we're big believers like yourselves in build it and get users on it.
Yeah.
Not I'm going to mint an NFT collection and then we're going to do this. You know, like I just don't comprehend that. For me, I couldn't do that to the
It's because you
ecosystem.
actually want to do something. You're just not looking to make money. If someone's just looking to, you know, exit scam and make a bunch of money, why would they give a fuck about anything else? You know,
Exactly.
it's hard out here for people who are really trying to push the envelope, but life goes on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I completely agree. And so that's like kind of like on you know, the upper level as to how I see Uni-Fy benefiting BoomBox and Rax NFT, as well as the fact that, you know, more backlinks are more backlinks, right? Like the more places you appear, this is the web, it's like a spider. The more of those webs that lead back to you, the better for everyone. And so it's all free to onboard and everything else. But we'll do a deep dive. I'll be doing a deep dive video on it once we get the platform live. And so yeah, man, that being said, do you want to, you know, let's get your screen share going, so shall we?
Oh yeah, sure. Is there anything I need to do, or I've got it? I think I've got it here. Can you see it? I'm scrolling up and down. Okay, there we go. Yeah, sweet. Okay, so yeah, this is BoomBox Market here. Just let me put my Discord on do not disturb because it's always going off. Cool. So yeah, this is BoomBox, and this is the landing page. You know, when you log in, you can search up different artists up here. This is something we'll be expanding on. It won't just be artists; it'll be like song names and, you know, genres and stuff like that, with a little more of a smart search bar is kind of what we're going for. But right now, that's being worked on. It's not implemented yet. Light mode and dark mode. I'm a dark mode maxi, so we're sticking with that. You can connect your wallet right here, and let's connect my. Hang on, let me connect my actual artist wallet, and then I can showcase to you what
Awesome.
this is all about. Okay, cool. So this is PDoc up here. That's my artist name. You have a profile. You can edit it. You can mint your NFT right here too. This is your artist profile where you link your Twitter. You put a little bio here. You can put your socials here with Audius, Twitter, all that stuff. A couple of little stats here. We're building like a stat, like a dashboard for you to look at all your different stats, just to expand on
Nice.
this a little bit more because it's pretty primitive. We're introducing messaging pretty soon too. It's not live, but it's there. This is the secondary market. So this is like songs. It might just take a second to load. You can sort by tracks, artists, or collections. Collections can be used, you know, with albums, like back and forth. Like we call albums collections on the site.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It looks like everything is not loading right now.
Of course it's not. We're live.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, so this is basically it's a pretty meat and potatoes you know, marketplace. I'm not sure why anything's not loading right now, but yeah,
It's definitely because we're live.
yeah. But you know, there's a feature section here. You know, people can follow you. We plan on expanding on these social parts of the site a little bit more by like introducing like a timeline and stuff like that, just to allow artists to post updates. So if you follow them, like you can see like what they've posted on BoomBox, or if they want to make like an update, like posting this you know, 5 copies of this like at this time or whatever. It's kind of all in one place, so you don't need to like let all your people know on Twitter. I think that's pretty important. This is volume. So like secondary sales and trending artists, how many sales are doing. trending drops. These are drops that haven't minted out yet, but they're doing pretty good on the charts and stuff like that.
Nice.
Plan on expanding on the charts a lot more too. It's cool, like seeing it now. You should just I wish you could see like the old site. It was pretty bare bones compared to now. But usually when this thing is working, you can sort by tracks and artists and collections. There's a little filter here, so you can filter by genre. If you're if you're a rapper and you're looking for beats, again, there's like a genre filter here for different beats and stuff like that, prices and different licenses. So we implemented licensing into BoomBox. So you can, the general consumption is like when you buy a CD, like you can buy a CD at HMV, put it in your player and listen to it, but you can't go home and burn copies of it and sell the copies of the music. That's, copyright infringement. You're not allowed to do it.
Nice.
Non-exclusive would be like it just has a different set of limitations. It's all in our FAQ. Exclusive would be like unlimited use, but you don't own it still. And master would be, unlimited use, and you own all the intellectual property of the sound. So depending on what the artist is comfortable, giving up what kind of rights, they can choose this license in the minting section. I'll show you what the mint page looks like too.
And just to be clear, like every time that I've used BoomBox, I've never had it loading like this. So it's always just been
I don't know what's
there.
going on. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm going to go into our dev chat and I'm going to tell them, I did a sick demo, except the site wasn't live. But this is the where you upload your music and you can mint it. Got album art, and you can do WAV, MP3, or MP4s. We offer audio visuals up to 1 gigabyte, which is 10 times the amount of any MP4 storage that any marketplace offers right now.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, 1 gigabyte allows you to do lots of stuff. You usually most music videos fall within 1 gigabyte. You can do a complete audio visual presentation, a podcast, anything like that. It kind of really opens it up to multimedia. So if you're looking to sell music videos or a live performance even, that's definitely something you can do on this site.
That's huge. And I know like I've been using it to mint our podcasts.
Right.
It definitely would be awesome to get a podcast category.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Yeah, I can do that for you for sure.
Yeah, wicked.
Yeah. I can do that for you 100%. But yeah, this is basically it. It's a music marketplace, and it's when it's the only thing we're missing, like that you can see right now, is just everyone's stuff that they uploaded on BoomBox. But I'm definitely I'm not sure why it's not loading, but that's the marketplace, man. It's we believe that in a few months' time, that this is something that can be adopted by every musician and used to kind of do business with their fans. So we're really looking forward to pushing like the new updates and stuff, like credit card purchasing and like USDC pricing and stuff like that. I think that really opens the door to what we can offer as a platform, and kind of bring more users on as we start marketing to them. So happy to have answer any questions about the marketplace or anything like that you may have. I know you mentioned you're a user of it, so yeah.
So I guess like one thing I think would be awesome is to just talk a little bit more about the minting page. Like obviously we're super familiar with it, but like like if you explain it to me as if I have not got any idea about NFTs, maybe if you
cool. So it's pretty straightforward. Upload your content. So we have the music, and then we have the album art that appears on the wallet. This is all pretty straightforward. Like, is it an instrumental or a sample or stuff like that? You should have no problem getting that. What genre would you classify it under? You could put a BPM. This is big for like DJs and stuff like that may be looking to purchase your song, that are looking for a specific BPM track that they want to mix into or something like that.
Okay, nice.
Your collection name will be like your album name. So like I put mine as like singles, and I upload like all my singles to that single collection. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And yeah, so I could probably go through and just quickly find like a beat or something that you put on.
Or do a live mint. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, it's just we're actually updating our mint authority right now, so it might not work. But
oh, that's cool. Yeah.
It's funny because like with this, we knew the site was going to be down for about 24 hours beforehand. I should have let you know.
All is good, man.
It's but we'll see if it'll work for me here. Just say it's 80. Collection name. We'll have to put a new collection. So let's just do like singles here. Upload some artwork to it. This is my singles collection, and you can create that. I'm gonna say upload image here, uploading the metadata, and then it should. Oh, okay, yeah. So they haven't. So they're fixing it still right now. So, yeah,
Well,
I can't.
Lets people know though. So that's the process.
I can't let. I can't go through with it yet, just because we're updating our mint authority. So, yeah, there's. I can't show you the mint page right now. You'd have to like. It should be fixed within like 3 hours or something like that. But.
No problem. All good, man. I mean, Uni-Fy has intention to do walkthroughs on all of our partner platforms anyway, and people we have on the podcast, you know, just to help with their marketing, our marketing, you know, awareness of the ecosystem and everything else. So, although we didn't get into
for people who are listening, if you're interested, I did make a tutorial. It's in our Discord. If you just go to discord.gg/boomboxlabs, I did make a video tutorial, and you can see the process on how to, and it's assuming you know nothing about crypto. There's no like it's assuming you know zero. So if you're curious and you want to see, you know, the platform in action, definitely just go and check it out, or try it for yourself at like the end of the day by like 8 o'clock EST. It should be up.
Outstanding, man. Love that. And yeah, I think it's more testament to the fact that we're building in public, you know, like we're actively, you know, consistently building, and
Yes,
proof is here. It's awesome. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. I think what you've built is an asset, both to you, your team, your co-founder, but also to the whole ecosystem. And I'm super excited. I think we're only a few months, you know, away from the music meta really taking off. Every musician I speak to is sick and tired of the archaic, old school, you know, faceless, you work for me contracts, and just people losing. So I think once this takes place, and once people start to realize it becomes part of the natural musician's toolbox funnel that you mentioned, and starts to be somewhere where you feed your audience and then weed out your super fans and then build really powerful, strong connections with that community, I think we're going to see huge influx.
I think so too. Like, you know, I just think that like it's the music industry. It's no secret that like, you know, the term starving artist has been around for a long time, and it's, you know, it carries its weight. A lot of artists you know, are either being told that, you know, oh, music can't be done as a full-time job, or like, you know, you don't even deserve to make that much money on your music and stuff like that. And I just completely disagree. Like, especially like it's a lot of ammo is given to like the people who are like, you know, music is free, and like, you know, you can't really support yourself on it. And I just don't think that's the truth. Like, if there's anything, people used to say the same thing about like painting and like doing like, you know, visual art and stuff like that. And like, if we've seen any, like, if there's any testament to it, like the one-of-one art seen in Solana is insane. Like, maybe not so much these days, but in its heyday, it, you know, provided an insight to what a creator economy could really look like. And like, you know, it is possible to sustain yourself, you know, with your art and with your music, and, you know, even not just sustain yourself, just, you know, you're able to value yourself higher than in Web 2. Maybe that's because there's not as many people here, or maybe because the value prop of selling your stuff in this manner actually makes sense. And a lot of people more and more people are seeing it every single day. So I really do think, like, I hate putting timelines on things, but like, you know, I just think like music distro on chain just makes sense. It doesn't matter
Yes.
like if it's in 3 months, 3 years, 3 decades. Like this tech is just, it just makes so much sense to apply to this. And I just think that, in the future it's inevitable. So, whatever happens, but we're going to keep building because, we have super, super high conviction on what we're doing. And like, it
Love
just,
that.
everyone I talk to who's way richer and smarter and more powerful than me, they're all agreeing with me. So, here's to hoping that, we're onto something really cool, that allows musicians to take control and, not, there's another way to do this other than signing a 360 deal and giving all your IP away and like stuff like that. So
That's exactly it, man. And I think you're doing everything right in the sense that you're making sure the platform's tested and robust, and you're making the barrier to entry as low as possible. And
yeah.
then you're going to market, because the
Mhm.
last thing you can have, and I say this, time and time again, is we are the founders, right? We are the founders not only of our projects, but what's going to shape the future of tech and people's perspective of the future of this technology. And so if you built a half-assed boombox and you just put it out like lots of people do in Web3, you're going to actually hurt your future going forward, and people's onboarding process, right?
Yeah, 100%.
They're going to have a negative connotation with it, and that hasn't hit music. I feel like it's hit like the JPEG PFP thing, like they're all scams and but it hasn't hit utility and it hasn't hit music because no one's done it yet, and no one's
Yeah.
put it in front of enough people's eyes. So I think you've taken responsibility for where you are and where you want to be, and you're building everything the right way. And I really love to see that, man. I think give you
Thanks, man.
flowers there. Yeah,
Thank you.
really
I appreciate
fantastic.
it. I appreciate it, but at the same time, I just gotta say, we are every day is day one to us.
Yeah.
Every day is day one, and as much as we've come, as far as we've come, and as awesome as the platform is now, not today, but as awesome as the
It
platform
is
has
good.
become, we just wake up every single day like it's day one, and it's we're we're always going to be here trying, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, like, just because like I really do believe in what we're doing. And let's it's exciting to be a part of it. It's exciting as a musician.
Mhm.
I every musician I talk to is basically like, dude, I needed this is exactly what we need. And it kind of puts a lot of wind in our sails. And I'm really excited about it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, you're almost building for the people that need it now, right? Like it's no longer just
Yeah,
a passion
exactly.
project. Like
Like,
it's
yeah, that's
become
kind of
bigger than
it.
you. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, then that's what we like, like.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like uh we've had bugs before, and I never really noticed how many people are daily users of Boombox until something like this happens, like today. And this has been the errors that we've seen have been going on for a few days now. And it's funny, I never really realized how integrated it's become until something like that happens, because then the fucking support tickets just fly in and they're like, what's
Oh
going
no.
on? I'm trying to mint my daily thing and it's not working. And it's like, oh shit, like, I'm sorry. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we're working on this right now, sorry. And yeah, no, it's cool to see. But yeah, like I said, every day is day one. And we haven't even everything you've seen up to this point has been organic, just because we haven't done any marketing. Like, we want everything to be so bulletproof,
Mhm.
before we even do 1 cent of marketing. Just because, like, we can't afford to, when these campaigns start going off, we can't afford to have problems. We can't afford to have like features that we wish we implemented, and now that they need to be implemented may break what we got now. So it's just getting it completely functional, for the everyday user before we make a big push. But I think it's really exciting, to see how far we've come. But I'm just 100% looking forward to the future, man. It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where you guys go, man, with it, because yeah, I think the sky's the limit and way beyond. And if there's any niche crying out for what you guys are doing, it's music. And like you say,
Big time.
it's just there's certain things, right, that shouldn't be NFTs, like there's
Yeah, no,
certain
I understand.
businesses that shouldn't be, and then there's certain that you're
Yeah,
just like, why isn't this, and music is 100% one of those.
yeah.
That should definitely be NFTs. So really exciting times, and it's been a fantastic conversation, man. I have a couple of questions I want to just sort of wind down with.
Yeah, sure.
And then we can wrap it up. But what I wanted to ask you first and foremost is, anyone coming into the Web3 space or looking at the Web3 space, not necessarily NFTs, but like, let's say, communities within Web3, Discord community, stuff like this, what would be like one or two pieces of advice that you would share with old you, knowing what you know now?
Oh, just like NFTs in general, or crypto, or
Like, I guess more like building your business, right?
okay.
Building BoomBox. If someone had an idea, it doesn't have to be the same as yours, but an idea that they wanted to bring to fruition in Web3, what are like one or two, three things that you wish, knowing what you know now, you could tell your old self?
I think as much as you're convicted in your ability to execute something, you always need a contingency plan. And not to say we haven't had any, for any hiccups that we've come across, because we have had hiccups, in every, project does, and every team does. But, you can't, you really got to plan out plan A, plan B, and plan C, and not just bank on if this one thing is going to work. Um, that's probably my biggest thing
Hmm.
is, what if no one cares? You know what I mean? What if no one
Hmm.
cares about this and it just doesn't take off and stuff like that? What are we going to do? Stuff like that. I've never really put any thought into it until, recently. But back, I think it's a fine line between letting doubt into your mind, like, and doubting yourself, and just kind of being realistic about your goals and expectations and your timelines and stuff like that. A lot of things that I was completely, like, sure that it was going to take this amount of time ended up taking 6 times longer than it did. And if I can simmer it all down to one thing, it's don't fucking put timelines. Don't say dates. Do not fucking say on this day this is going to happen, because it's like a curse. If you say it, it's not fucking gonna happen. And you could it
So
can
true.
look like it's gonna happen all the way up until that day, and then when the fucking day comes, you get a DM from the dev, or you get a fucking something, and
Yep.
something happens, or you know what I mean. It's just I think I think that's the biggest thing, is just kind of, be on your toes, and be willing to accept mistakes in this space as well. It's moved so fast, you could be wrong about so much stuff. Don't let your ego, you got to kill it.
Hmm. Hmm.
You got to kill your ego 100%. So yeah, just don't set dates, and don't be a fucking dick, and you should be all good. So that's basically where I'll leave it.
I love that, man. That's fantastic advice. And yeah, like, I 100% agree with the no date things. Like, just don't even say next week. Like, genuinely,
It's yeah, don't. And I
from
still
what
to
I've
this day,
learned,
'cause I'm like, and there's no way. There was only this much to do, and it's gonna fucking happen, and then it fucking doesn't, and now you
yeah,
look stupid
yeah.
because you said something, and it's
And
just
it's like, then the
so
FUD
much
fountain
easier to just say
starts.
soon, and then
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, I think hands down, fantastic piece of advice. So adhere to that, guys, and you pretty much can't go wrong. Um, Okay, so next couple of questions is, where do you see, what does the future hold for your business in the next 6 months to a year?
One thing we're really looking forward to is Breakpoint.
Yep.
Solana Breakpoint in Amsterdam. We have a speaker panel there. So Jim, the other co-founder and the CEO of BoomBox Labs, he will be going up on stage and speaking at the conference about BoomBox. So we're really, really excited about that. Hopefully meet a bunch of new people there, a bunch of new, developers and artists
Yep.
and stuff like that. Just kind of, put the word out. Really looking forward to that. And Yeah. Also, one thing that's kind of on under wraps that we haven't really gotten into it all publicly is, this media arm that we're putting together at BoomBox Labs. We got ourselves, where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. We got ourselves a red cam, and it's sick as
Oh
hell.
shit!
Oh yeah, and
Let's go.
yeah, so we've been doing a lot of work on media, just kind of trying to build as many profitable ventures in this business as possible. So one thing we're doing is videography and photography, and charging for services on that front. So we're building our clientele base there as well. Just looking, to expand into as many money making, ventures that we can and that we have the means to do, right? So since we're a big music company, a lot of artists that we work with, they may, want a media package or to do like a music video, or to do like an interview or something like that. So that's definitely something we've been looking into, because it's one of the more tangible things that we can make money outside of crypto. That's one of our biggest things is how do we make money outside of crypto? Because as we all know, the crypto market is like super unpredictable, right? And it's super volatile. So we can't really bank on it. We got to bank on, services that we can provide that kind of bring money in instead. So not to say like we're just exploring all different types of, revenue generating avenues, but definitely one we're putting a lot of focus on is our media arm for BoomBox. And yeah, little alpha there, because like I don't talk about it really a lot. We haven't really gone public about it at all. So definitely something that we're building out right now. Probably won't be seeing a lot of it, other than like our content page that we're putting together, like for like the clients that we do get and stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's just trying to make money, man. Trying to stay alive as a business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that, man. I was definitely going to ask, like, did you have any, like other alternative sustainability and sort of income streams? And you've just answered that. And I think, that just stems back to Uni-Fy in a sense where it's like we would encourage like something like that. Would you
Yeah.
actually create a whole different brand page for that? Like
Yeah,
rather than
we are.
including
It's
that.
actually going to be a whole different company, kind of.
Yeah.
And it'll have its own branding and everything like that. But it will fall under the BoomBox Labs umbrella. And yeah, just not too much I can say really other than that, publicly. But those are definitely some things that we're working on too. And yeah, it's just another big thing too is expanding the user base of BoomBox. But we can't do that until the platform is up to our standard.
Yeah.
And it's not yet. That's just the truth, right? It's missing functional abilities that we need for it to go mainstream and to kind of hook people.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's the next 6 months is building out the media arm and getting the site ready for a big marketing push, which will hopefully bring in a wave of new users.
Yeah, man. And again, not just boosting BoomBox marketplace there, you're boosting the entire ecosystem and bringing in new liquidity, which is, again, taking responsibility for not just yourself and your project, but the whole ecosystem, which I think is really powerful, important, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I love that. And so you did just drop some alpha, but not quite enough alpha. So I'm going to ask you if you've got any more alpha, and I would like to know a little bit more about your trash that's been dropping around.
Oh, the garbage.
Garbage, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really say too much about garbage yet. But for those, I guess for those who've been paying attention to Discord, you might know this, but backend is completely built for a rack hub. For the features that we plan on dropping on launch day. It's completely done, just updating the front end a little bit. It's coming so soon. I can't even fucking tell you. I wish I could say it's coming this day, but it's not. We know the rules, and it's coming so fucking soon. But you're definitely going, like, if you have a rack and don't have garbage, you should pick one out, because you're gonna want it. And the gold and the legendary garbages definitely do something way more cooler. We've outlined it a little bit, but yeah, there's some really nice looking racks that are entering into the family through the golden garbages and legendary garbages. So if you're a big fan of the art and you really want a cool fucking rack, you're going to want a gold or a legendary garbage, because those get burned into some pretty fucking sweet racks. The legendary get burned into one of ones. Some of them have been done by mobs. Some of them have been done by one of one artists in the space. We haven't said this at all. Like, no one knows this shit yet. And we're not really going to like pimp out the one of one artists like we've seen some projects do before, where it's like trying to ride them for clout. We just really like their style of art, so we reached out to them and we were like, yeah, you know, we'll obviously tag you in this, but we're not going to be like, oh, you know, like so yeah, no, the legendary and the gold garbages are probably the alpha right now, if you're a big fan of the art, because some of the best racks to hit the collection are coming to those burn mechanics when you burn your gold or your legendary for a mythic or a one of one rack. It's super exciting. We've been working on that for a couple.
And so, like, I know I've looked at the garbage, and I know last time I checked, like, gold was sitting at like a 5 soul floor, and I know
it's
legendary.
Crazy, because you can fucking get I think it starts at 10. You can burn 10 regular garbage to make a gold garbage. So like, there's some delta.
That's
there.
alpha. That's more
there's
alpha.
Some
as
delta
well.
there that's missing. I don't know like what's priced wrongly, but yeah,
Degens.
So but yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. But, yeah, and the space never fails to make me laugh. If anything, it's always funny to witness, because it's like, oh fuck, because you can't control these things. They kind of just like play out, right?
No, they become like, you
going
create
back and
this thing,
like,
right?
oh, okay, I didn't expect that to go that way.
Yeah, it's like an organism, and then it just goes off and is evolved by different people.
Yeah, it's fucking funny. But yeah, no, that's I should probably shut the fuck up, because Jim's gonna watch this and go, why the fuck did you keep talking? So
nice. It means that I have got to the level of alpha I like to get to on Uni-Fy podcasts, when you have to shut yourself up. So that's good. Well, I know I'm going to go and sweep a bunch, because I know the floor on that trash on the garbage is super low. If I can burn 10, I'm going to go sweep 50 of those. And you check out the racks. You know, the art is awesome. You've just heard it here that the art is only going to get better. I love the fact that you don't need to have anything to do with NFTs to use BoomBox or benefit from BoomBox.
Yeah,
but will there be any benefit to holding NFTs?
Oh yeah, so you can. So in the one of the things that we're going to start working on right away after Rack Hub is complete and pushed, and all the bugs are squashed, and no one's you know, saying, oh my god, this is broken, we are going to allow you to pair a rack to your BoomBox profile. 100% not like, you don't need to do this. If like you don't give a fuck about NFTs, or you don't give a fuck about racks, it's totally fine. And you just want to use BoomBox, go ahead. But definitely will be some benefits to pairing your rack with your BoomBox account. So that's coming right after. That's in the pipeline right after Rack Hub. So yeah, there's definitely something you can do between the two. But we thought it was really important to make sure that BoomBox wasn't gated at all. We've seen like a couple, they've folded since, but there was a few music marketplaces, you know, early 2022 that, you know, did launch, and they're trying to take that route. Like they were trying to, like, you know, it's gated to holders only, and it's just like, this is just not a scalable business, like at all. No. Anytime you restrict the amount of people that can use your thing, it just makes no fucking sense. So we are completely like, that'll never change. BoomBox will always be, you know, no strings attached, like no subscription fees and stuff like that, to be able to use on the bare minimum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, and I'll leave it there for now. There's not too much I can't really get into publicly, but you can definitely in the future, the near future, pair your rack with your BoomBox account. And it'll be equivalent to, you'll still earn points like you do in staking. I don't know if I was allowed to say that, but it's going to happen anyway. So you'll still earn the points that you'll get through staking, pairing it with the BoomBox account. But yeah, that's in terms of benefits and stuff. We'll have to wait until the announcement to read it over and go over.
Outstanding, man. So, I mean, one thing I really want to just portray to the audience and to the listeners is, when I'm speaking to you, Pat, and I'm talking about your business, is all I'm hearing is that this is geared for longevity, sustainability, and growth,
Yeah,
and this is what you look for when you're trying to define good investments. None of this is financial advice. Do your own research. We are
yeah,
just
of
talking
course.
about JPEGs, right? But
Yeah,
at the same time, if you are looking to get into Web3 and you do want to understand the best way to define and refine your investment portfolio, hearing that founders speak the way Pat is speaking now about their project and things that they thought about having years and years in their head planned is a very, very easy way to separate between the ruggers and the thuggers. So,
like that.
yeah, huge props to you, man. I really like
Thank
what
you,
you're
man.
building.
Appreciate it.
I know that we are having a conversation about starting a dedicated monthly podcast where
Yeah,
Uni-Fy and BoomBox, will be bringing on local artists. We'll be helping them launch their first NFT. We'll be hearing their music and, building the community that way. And that's a really nice, easy way that will help sort of organically grow users.
I think so too. Yeah.
Both of the audience and the actual users, the artists themselves.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to roll that out with you. There's numerous other things that I've got in the pipeline that I think we will be talking about to collaborate on as well going
Sweet.
forward. And so last of all, if people have listened to this podcast and they want to find out, they want to get in touch with you, your partner, your platform, where do they go? How do they find you?
I'm really accessible. You can DM me on Twitter. My Twitter is new dumb money. You can see it right down there. Uh,
Boom.
it's yeah, and you can just message me, message the BoomBox account if you want. BoomBox Market on Twitter. Our intern's really good. He's always pinging me. You missed this DM, and yeah. So those our team is super awesome. They make sure I don't miss anybody's DM. So if you're looking to get a hold of me either on Twitter
Mm,
or in our Discord, if you're not in the Discord, Twitter is probably the easiest way. New Dumb Money on Twitter. And
fantastic.
I check my DMs a couple times a day. There's a chance I may miss it, but just spam the shit out of it. Don't worry, I'll open it up.
Love that. Love that. And man, absolute pleasure it has been. Really vibes and love what you're building. I wish you all the best in longevity, success, and sustainability.
Thank you, man.
And I'll be pinging you an invite to the Discord if I haven't already for Uni-Fy.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
we'll move forward together from there.
Yeah, sweet, man. Yeah, looking
Yeah.
forward to it. Thanks for having me too, by the way. I love getting on here talking about our collection and our marketplace that that we're really passionate about. And so I could sit here and talk for hours about it. So I really do appreciate you hopping on here and chatting about it, man, because it means a lot. I'm sorry that the minting is broken, but
Well, I mean,
I can assure you that it's getting fixed, and it's probably and Walker said it's a good chance it gets done today. So I know I just broke my rule, but he says it should be done today. So we'll see.
oh yeah, you gave it
But it
time
is
there,
what it
but
is. These kinds of things. We just kind of we don't laugh at them, but you gotta look for the good in it. It's like, oh well, what can you do? You know what I mean? Like I knew it was broken, but yeah, it should be up fully working very soon. So if you're interested in the platform, you need help minting your first NFT, please don't hesitate to reach out. We have the tutorial in the Discord, but there's plenty of people in the Discord that are willing to help as well. A lot of the Discord is not just Rax holders, it's active users, buyers, sellers on BoomBox. So anytime you have any questions, we have a ticket system as well. So if you're having any technical difficulties, please hit us up. But yeah, this is what we do. It's something that we've been working on for the last 2 years or so. Going to be working on it forever.
yeah, nice, yeah.
It's just it's something we really believe in, and yeah, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to allow me to come on here and rant about it all. It really means a lot.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, just to get into the whole minting thing, I think we will definitely be at least doing, one a quarter, if not monthly, this music
Yeah, yeah,
podcast.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so
That'd be
you'll
super
see it.
tight.
Yeah, like definitely.
Keep me in the loop on that. I'd
Boom.
like to hop in there and be on the panel.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like that's
Yeah.
that's the level we're going for. So, but I'm saying then the audience will be able to come back and see it there. There's also the educational content you did
Yeah.
that they can find as well. So, guys, there's a lot to be learned here, and a lot to be looking forward to within Rax and the BoomBox community. I've been YSC, he's been New Dumb Money. This has been awesome, and we shall see you next time on the Uni-Fy podcast.
See you guys. Thank you.
Cheers.